You are tuned into the Literacy Hour with Test Taking Solution and your host, Dr. Kentrell Liddell, MD, MBA. The purpose of this show is to help mitigate health disparities, improving literacy related to health, economics, and education. For all your professional development, professional management, and educational support services needs, contact Test Taking Solution, where we're igniting success. Located at 2104 Thousand Oaks Drive in Jackson, Mississippi. Literacy is knowledge and knowledge is power. Thank you for joining the Literacy Hour.
Thank you so much for joining the Literacy Hour. Yes, we are here, and the purpose of our being here today is to talk about the USDA 502 program. So I see we have some people coming in, and that's great. You all just keep filing in, and I'm going to keep going. Let's see, I have someone here who should be on and can verify for me that you see my screen. You should see our website, ttsfoundation.org. Do you see that website? Excellent. The first thing I really want to make sure that everyone knows, there it is, the TTS Foundation website. You should see that website up on your screen now. And don't worry if you're not able to stay for the entire hour. This episode will be archived on our YouTube channel. You will be able to access it at a time that's more convenient for you. You'll also be able to share it. We do ask that people go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you subscribe to the channel, then you will be notified whenever we are on air. And so I want to make sure that you get that subscription as YouTube, Test Taking Solution Foundation. All right. You should see our website up there. And if you do, then I want you to pay attention to this More tab, the More tab, because it is this tab that provides you access to the next link that you will click on, single family housing. When you click on that link, again on our website, ttsfoundation.org, you will begin to learn about the 502 program. Yes, you've seen some of this in our advertising. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate your notes and your encouragement. You all do such a great job of emailing and texting. Feel free to call in as well. The call-in number is 601-714-8378. That's 601-714-8378. Call in if you have a question as we're going along tonight, okay? So, what can the 502 do for you? You've seen in our advertising and promotions that there's no down payment required. There's alternative credit analysis and interest rates, sometimes as low as 1%. The interest rate changes like anything else. And so they still tend to be lower than traditional bank loans for mortgages, right? So we want to make sure that you are aware of these primary features of the 502 program. Payment assistance is available and relatively affordable monthly payments. I say relatively because affordable is a subjective term, isn't it? What's affordable for one may not be considered affordable for someone else. But what the USDA means by that is, in fact, the monthly payments are usually very competitive, especially when compared to bank mortgage loans. Those are your traditional banks. So, are you in the market for a new home? Are you interested in owning your very own home? Do you have a steady income? If so, when you go to our website and you click on that More tab, you're already halfway to submitting an application. Oh, yeah. All you have to do then is click on the link that we provide there on the page to learn more about the 502 housing program. And we do that on purpose, because when you click that link, you will be taken away from our website and to the actual USDA website where the information is kept as up to date as possible. And that's what we believe in doing here around the Literacy Hour, where we air every Tuesday morning at 7 a.m. Yes, right here on our YouTube channel. First Tuesdays, we focus on education. And on second Tuesdays, we focus on health. Yes, with the aim of enhancing our health literacy. On third Tuesdays, it's all about financial literacy. Fourth Tuesdays, mental health and wellness. And fifth Tuesdays, tech literacy, all things tech. That's tuning into the Literacy Hour, 7 a.m. every Tuesday morning. Again, subscribe to our YouTube channel and you will be notified whenever we are on air. For those of you just joining, what we're doing is looking at our ttsfoundation.org website. And on this website, we have some tabs at the top. You see Home, Event Calendar, About Us, Literacy Hour, and More. Well, we clicked on the More tab. When you click on that More tab, you're going to see Single Family Housing. That will bring you to this page where you will begin to learn about the 502 program to determine if it is right for you. If you decide that you would like to move forward after learning more about the program, you will use our contact form. And many of you have already done this. We have a rather long waiting list, but many of you have already experienced and demonstrated that you are tech savvy. You've used our contact form, you've reached out to us. We have gotten back in touch with you as well. And I hope that you would appreciate those responses, because we have been guided by the USDA Rural Development Office in our responses. So feel free, though, to upload any documents that you may want to share when you are contacting us. Remember, Test Taking Solution and our foundation do business in accordance with all federal and state laws. So equal housing opportunity is very important to us, to not discriminate against any person because of their race, color, religion, sex, handicap, disability, familial status, or national origin. All of that information is right there on our website. Again, when you are on the website, you have clicked our More tab, you're exploring the 502, please know that you're going to be taken out of our website into the USDA's website. Very important, because it contains the most up-to-date information about the single family housing direct home loan. That's the proper term, the long term for the 502. The 502 direct home loan and the single family housing direct home loan are the same thing. So we like to call it the 502 program. As you can see there, the application window is open because applications are processed on an ongoing basis from October the 1st of one year to September the 30th of the next year. So what does that mean? The entire year. So applications are processed whenever they are submitted to the USDA Rural Development Office. USDA, for those of you new to that acronym, that term, it stands for U.S. Department of Agriculture. It's one of our federal agencies. So on the USDA's website, we use their drop down here to select our beautiful Magnolia State, Mississippi. And when we select Mississippi, you will see the page change. Mississippi will now be at the top of the screen in that title header, Single Family Housing Direct Home Loans in Mississippi. You will notice that the application deadline is the same. Applications are accepted on an ongoing rolling basis. So, thank you again for tuning in. Either you are new to 502 or you're currently a client who have been just waiting for applications to be process, submit it to USDA for further processing. Maybe you're waiting for a certificate of eligibility, COE, or maybe you are entering phase 2 of the program, the application process. Yes, it's 2 phases. Phase 1, where your eligibility is determined, and then phase 2, where you decide if you're going to build a new home, repair an existing home, or perhaps purchase an already existing home. This program will allow you to do either of those 3 things. Let's dive more into the program. Again, if you have a question, I want you to feel free to call 601 714 8378. I'm actually going to take a moment to go back over to our presentation screen and put that number up so that you all will have it there in case you need to use it. Okay. So there's the number. Again, thank you so much for tuning in this evening. That's our website with the More tab. And this is the USDA with the most up to date information about the program. There have been some changes, some recent updates. So I'm glad you're here. You want to take notes and you don't want to feel bashful about asking questions. We have a chat function. You can do it that way. You can text us as well, or you can call the number that is on the presentation screen, 601 714 8378. So, what does this program do? Again, it's also known as, and I'll see if I can make it even bigger on my side. Hopefully, if I do that, it'll become bigger on your side. From the virtual studio team, can I get a thumbs up that it became larger on your side? Okay. Well, you may have to open your screen or do some other things. Can you do that if you're on a mobile device? For those of you on the laptops or desktop, it should be a little larger for you because I made it larger on my side. We care about your eyesight, your vision, your convenience, and I want you to be comfortable. So, as we go through this presentation, if you have any questions, remember, you can chat, you can call in, you can also email us. Okay? So, what does this program do? It's also known as the Section 502 Direct Loan Program. This program assists who? Low and very low income applicants. Let me repeat that because it's extremely important that we take note of just who this program is geared towards. It's low and very low income people, trying to help them to obtain safe, sanitary housing in eligible rural areas by providing them with payment assistance. And by doing so, that will increase the applicant's ability to repay the loan. This is a loan program, but a very good one, I might add, because of the low interest rates and because of the terms and conditions that are many times more favorable than those you can get through other traditional means. Payment assistance is a type of subsidy, and that reduces the mortgage payment for a short period of time. The amount of assistance is determined based on your adjusted family income. So that's what we do as a qualified packaging employer. The Test Taking Solution Foundation will help to calculate your annual family income, your adjusted family income, and your repayment income. So, your ability to do all of that. Again, feel free to call us. We're on air 714-8378. Caller, you're on the air. Do you have a question or comment? Okay, so maybe they called by mistake, and that's quite all right. And we understand that people are kind of coming and going is at the end of a work day, but we wanted to take this time to bring everybody up to date about what's been happening with the 502 Direct. That's the single family housing direct home loan program. aka 502 program. Okay. So who is it for? Low and very low income. What will we be calculating? Your annual income, your adjusted income, as well as your repayment ability. Okay. Who may apply for this program? Well, a number of factors help to determine whether you're eligible, and that's not something Test Taking Solution Foundation will do. We will help you to uh, package your application, and then we will submit it to the Rural Development Office, and they will determine if, based on all the information we have provided them, whether or not you're eligible. We'll get that word back to you, and then you will move into the next phase of the process. But a number of factors will determine whether or not you're eligible. At a minimum, applicants interested in obtaining a direct loan must have an adjusted income that is at or below the applicable low income limit. That's right. You must have an income that's either at or below that low income limit. And those are published annually, sometimes more than that, depending on what the USDA wants to do. And they recently published that listing as well. So we use that low income limit for the various areas of Mississippi, and we compare that to your annual income, your adjusted family income, to determine if you are at or below the low income limit that is applicable for the area where you want to buy the house, repair the home, or build a home. So we look at the low income limit for that area. You also, in order to be eligible for this program, must demonstrate a willingness to repay the debt. You have to understand that it is a loan program and that you must repay the debt. So you have to also demonstrate that willingness. Another eligibility factor is that you have to demonstrate an ability to repay. Just like anything else, you have to basically be credit worthy. And all of that will be determined by the USDA Rural Development Office once they receive your application. And what's important to know about the application is that it is not just a form, okay, that you fill out. No, there are several documents that must be attached or accompany the form. And that's what makes it somewhat challenging for some people. They don't attach everything that is required. Well, at the Test Taking Solution Foundation, we help you to dot the I's, cross the T's, and to get your application across the finish line. Applicants must be without decent, safe, sanitary housing. Okay? Must be unable to obtain a loan from other resources on terms and conditions that can reasonably be expected to be met by you, right? You must agree to occupy the property. Once the USDA helps you to fix it up or purchase it, then you must be willing to occupy that property as your primary residence. No, you can't get this loan program or use this loan program to repair or build up an investment property and then lease it out. No, no, no. You have to live or reside on the property as your primary residence. Also, you must have the legal capacity to incur a loan obligation. Yeah, you must be, again, credit worthy. You must meet citizenship or eligible non citizen requirements, and you cannot be suspended or debarred from participating in federal programs. So, if you don't meet either of these bullets, then you may not qualify for this program. You may not be eligible for this program. There may be some other options that would be helpful for you, but not this 502 single family housing direct home loan. We're getting it straight from the horse's mouth this evening, you all. The changes and the updates, we're learning about them from the USDA Rural Development website. Properties financed with the direct loan funds, they must not have a market value that's in excess of the applicable area loan limit. What does that mean? That means that if you're going to finance a home, build a home, buy a home, repair a home, it cannot exceed the market value of the area. So here you have the map that USDA provides. They, yes, open book, they're transparent, they're giving us the information. It's up to us to use it. The area loan limit, single family housing direct home loan. You click on Mississippi, you look at the various counties. There's Hinds County, okay? And the maximum limit effective February of this year, and it has not changed, okay, is $324,700. That means that this is the maximum loan limit that you can receive by way of this program. That would get you a very nice, decent, sanitary, safe home. Either purchasing one that's already existing, repairing one, maybe not necessarily building one, but then again, that's relative. Noxubee County. I do know we have some people on from Noxubee. You're engaged. Thank you. 324,700. As you can see, it's about that across the board. So the maximum amount you would qualify for, 324,700. Again, only thing constant is change. You want to work with packagers who stay up to date with the USDA's changing regulations, policies, and procedures. We at the Test Taking Solution Foundation pride ourselves in staying up to date by attending a meeting with the rural development team every other Monday. So they are exceptional. Miss Stephanie and her team help us to know what is the latest and the greatest, what is going on with the program, and also provides us with feedback and tips. And so it's so important to be engaged with the packaging agency that is also connected to the USDA Rural Development Team. Properties financed with direct loan funds must not be designed for income producing activities. Again, this is not for you to use for fixer-uppers, for you to then go and rent those out to what? Produce income or generate revenue. This is not the program for that. Borrowers are required to repay all or a portion of the payment subsidy over the life of the loan when that title to the property transfers or the borrower is no longer living in the dwelling. When they find out that you're no longer living in that dwelling, you're required to repay every cent or a portion of that payment subsidy that you received. Again, applicants must meet income eligibility for the direct loan. So the income eligibility, that's another hyperlink that they provide for us here on their website. And there it is, the income eligibility. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger as well. Keep in mind that we're just providing updates tonight, but should you engage or should you already be engaged with Test Taking Solution Foundation, this is information you will be privy to throughout the process. We'll make sure that you meet these limits, make sure that you are aware of them as well. So this is the fiscal year 2026 adjusted income limits. You would be considered, for example, if you're looking to build or repair in the Gulfport, Biloxi, Mississippi area, you will be considered very low income if you're making $41,550 a year. Low income if you're making $66,500 a year, and moderate income if you're making $122,800 a year. You're going to learn here in a moment that the average year term for the loan is 33 years. But you see here that if you want to build in this area, Gulfport, Biloxi, or repair a home in this area or buy an existing home in this area, you can have your yearly term stretched out or prolonged from 33 years for an additional 5 years, making it a 38-year mortgage if you're making $34,900 a year or less. Okay. So I know that some of you are just as shocked as we were when we first saw these numbers. Oh, wow, 3 or 4 years ago when we first became trained and certified to be a qualified packaging agency. We were stunned that very low income is considered 41,550. Certainly, we do know that inflation and grocery prices, gas prices make this to really be true today. But we were just stunned a few years ago that wow, low income, 66,500. That means that a lot of people who otherwise don't think they're eligible, you really could be eligible should all the other conditions be met. Here's the income limit that you must meet, and a lot of people meet this. Okay. So I know some of you are wondering about some of the other counties. I can query it. Someone sent me a note earlier today asking about the limits for Hines County. We can query it and see. I did make a note to them, I think it was last year, that I didn't see Hines County on here. And rural Hines County is indeed a rural area, but it looks like, yep, they left it off again this year. So let me try Noxubee. Let's try Noxubee. There's Noxubee County. So you would be able to build or repair in Noxubee County, very low income, $36,000. You would be considered low income if you're bringing in $57,600 a year. So this is their entire document. This was just updated, you all, July 13th, 2026. So what? That was a week or so ago, not long ago at all. That's why this Literacy Hour episode is so very important. We're bringing you up to date regarding some recent changes with the USDA program. I will do like I did last year then and send them another note about Hines County being left off. Last year, when we brought it to their attention, they added it. So I anticipate that they will do the same this year. I'm going to query the system one more time for Hines County just to make sure we're not overlooking it. Nope, it's at 00. If there is another county that you would like for me to query to be able to give you an immediate answer about what the very low income limits, the low income limits look like, just send me a text or call us 601-714-8378, and I'll be happy to query the system for you. So what is an eligible rural area? Well, USDA has taken care of publishing that information as well. Keep in mind, only thing constant is change. So it changes. That's why it's important to be connected to a packaging and qualified employer that really does value staying up to date. And the fact that you're listening to this episode of the Literacy Hour tells me that you already know how important it is to stay up to date and understand the current information about this program and all other things. You just want to be as current as possible about all matters. But you now know there's an area loan limit. Okay. You now know there's an income eligibility. Well, and there is an eligibility site. There are places considered rural areas. You can enter a specific address, and this system will search the map to determine whether or not that site is eligible. It's really simple to use. A nice, very nice tool. So, how may funds be used? Loan funds may be used to help low-income individuals or households to purchase homes in rural areas. Funds can be used to build. You see, it's not just Dr. Liddell saying it, but here it is in black and white. Here on the Literacy Hour, we like to make sure we're providing you with current information with references that are reputable and that basically you can find in the black and white. You don't necessarily have to take our word for it, but you can trust our word because I make sure that our team is providing you with accurate information at all times. Otherwise, we are to say, and it is our policy to say, we do not know. But we'll help you find out. Okay. But in this case, oh, yeah, we're 502 gurus. We know all about this program. It's an excellent program, as I've stated before. And the funds may be used to build a home, to repair a home, renovate a home, or relocate a home, or to purchase and prepare sites, including providing water and sewage facilities. So, all things in order to help you to obtain or acquire a safe, decent, sanitary home. That's what the funds may be used for. But you have to occupy that home as your what? Primary residence. Okay. How much may I borrow? Well, you saw the area loan limits. You might qualify for the maximum. But using the single family housing direct self assessment tool, which is one of the first steps we take you through when you access or retain Test Taking Solution Foundation to assist you with your application packaging. We actually go through this assessment tool when we're talking to you. We're asking you various questions. Well, we're using their tool, and you can too. You can access this. This is public information, but you don't have to know all of this. You just need to be connected with someone who does. And the Test Taking Solution Foundation does. Again, our website is ttsfoundation.org. You go over there to our website and you click on More. And when you click on the More tab, you will see the single family housing link, and you will be able to connect with us by reading this page. Very short read, vital information. And when you get down there, you'll see the contact form, and you'll be able to connect with us that way. But how much may you borrow? We've shown you the area loan limits, the tool that you will take on your own or that we will help you to go through. It'll provide a preliminary review of all things such as your general household composition, how many folks live in the house currently, your monthly income, your monthly debts. We're looking at your cash flow to debt ratio, how much are you bringing in versus how much you owe. Property location, looking at estimated property taxes, estimated hazard insurance. This information input into that self-assessment tool gives the USDA a pretty good idea of how much money you may borrow. And it will give you a pretty good idea too at the end or as you conclude this self-assessment. Now, upon receipt of a completed application, the Rural Development Office will determine your eligibility and your maximum loan amount. It's going to be based on a few things that we will calculate. I said it earlier in the show. Your annual income, your adjusted income, your repayment ability. Okay. So how much you may borrow will depend on those calculations, as well as the county where you want to build or repair or relocate or do what you need to do in order to get a safe, sanitary, decent home. What is the interest rate and the payback period? Effective August 1, 2026, the current interest rate is 5.25%. You see, welcome to the Literacy Hour. It is our goal to enhance your literacy, to make sure that you are knowledgeable. And tonight, our primary focus is the USDA's 502 Direct Home Loan Program. Yeah, this is for low income, very low income borrowers. And you saw what the USDA considers to be low income and very low income. They have the information available so that even before you access the USDA Rural Development Office or before you even access a qualified, certified packaging employer like Test Taking Solution Foundation, you could have already looked at this information and determined for yourself whether or not it appears that you're eligible. And that is why we provide the information on our website. We provide it right there at ttsfoundation.org. The More tab. single family housing. And then when you scroll down through there, a very short scroll, explore the 502. It's going to take you right back to the USDA's website. It is your responsibility. You are accountable for reviewing information and determining whether or not it is a good fit for you. Test Taking Solution Foundation can't decide that for you. The USDA Rural Development Office won't decide that for you. You have to determine that. What we can and will do is help you to package your application to get it over to rural development so that they can determine your eligibility using all that verified information and those calculations that we will have done. The interest rate is based on current market rates at either your loan approval or your loan closing, whichever is lower. You see, because the rate changes. So when you get ready to go to closing, let's say that the current interest rate at that time is 5%. They're going to allow your interest rate to be fixed at 5%. Yeah, and not this 5.25%. It's whichever is lower. The USDA really is trying to help, but it's a lot of information, and it's a huge application. We wouldn't be telling you the truth if we said, oh, yeah, it's a little simple form, fill it out. No, it's not. It is a complicated process, but it's one that is doable if you have people who know what to do, people who have been trained and certified by the USDA, people like those who volunteer for our Test Taking Solution Foundation to give back, to help people enhance literacy and mitigate health disparities. Housing is a social determinant of health. And so that's one of our primary missions, is to help improve the health equity, the accessibility to health care in our state. One way to do that is to help people to obtain safe, sanitary housing. So we're very pleased and honored to be a part of this program, and we would welcome an opportunity to help you to package your application. The interest rate, when modified by the payment assistance that the USDA would provide, can be as low as 1%. Now, where are you going to find a rate that low on a mortgage loan? Hardly anywhere. That's what makes this program so exciting, so unique, and so beneficial to so many people. There's an up to 33-year payback period, 38-year payback period for the very low income applicants. And for those of you who joined earlier in the show, you saw what very low income looks like across our state by way of the information that the USDA published. How much down payment is required? No down payment is typically required. Wait a minute. You're telling me, Dr. Liddell, that the interest rate can be as low as 1%, and whatever it is at loan closing, that if it's lower than what they stated to me at the beginning of this whole process, that they're going to give me the lower rate? Yes. That rate, after they apply all the payment assistance they're going to provide, it can be low as 1%? Yes. That I get 33 years to pay this loan back? Yes. 38 years if I'm very low income? Yes. And I don't have to pay a down payment? Yes. Yes, yes, and yes. That's why this is such an exciting program. And I want you to have a complete application so that you can be in the running to be considered to receive the maximum loan proceeds possible, the maximum funding possible, which you saw it was north of $300 and some odd $1,000 to get a home. Applicants with assets higher than the asset limits. You see that? That's another aspect of the process. We have to determine your assets. As I shared with you a moment ago now, the application process does not consist of just a form. There are many aspects, many things that must be verified in order for you to be determined eligible for this program. But that should not deter you from trying. All somebody can say is yes or no. You share truthful information and what you have, and then just, I say, pray about it and leave the rest up to the USDA Rural Development Office to issue the verdict of whether or not you're eligible. And if you are, then congratulations. You get to move forward to the next phase. You get issued a certificate of eligibility, a COE. We've been very blessed at Test Tech and Solution Foundation in that we've gotten a client issued a COE before. And boy, you talk about exciting. It was just a wonderful feeling to have jumped or met all of these various hurdles, which really shouldn't be considered hurdles. They're just requirements. But we helped some elderly and veterans, et cetera, and others to package their loans such that they can meet these requirements and move on to the next phase of the process. Is there a deadline to apply? Well, you probably know the answer to that now, especially if you've been listening intently. You know that there is no deadline, that the Rural Development Office accepts applications year round. Yes, last year there were times when funding ran out or times when things were put on hold. Certainly out of Test Taking Solutions control and out of our Rural Development Office's control. The USDA has to do what it has to do based on congressional mandates and other mandates. I'm not quite sure of all of them, and it's not my job to be sure of all of what they have to, deal with. I do know that we follow their regulations, their policies and procedures. So when they put things on hold, we then notify our clients to say, hey, there is no news. And yet some clients still, and it's okay, it doesn't bother us at all. They'll say, hey, have you heard anything? Hey, is it something going? If we have not shared with you that there is an update, then there is no update. Things are still on hold. But today, I'm excited to tell you that things are not on hold, that the USDA is actively accepting applications, actively moving people through the process and getting folks to closing of their loans. People are obtaining housing, and I want you to be in that number. That's why we felt it very important to spend some time tonight on this Friday evening, July 31st, the last day of July, to share with you this exciting information. So no, there is no deadline. We work with our clients to get their documents together, and then we move forward in terms of submitting their application. Now, I will tell you that it does take some people a little bit longer than others to get their documents together, and the entire process ends up being about 9 months to 12 months. So 9 months to a year's time. Yes, I know that that's rather long. It is what it is. And the quicker you turn in information, the quicker you explain, let's say, some blemishes on your credit report, the quicker you're able to provide updated bank statements, etc., the quicker the process will go. And we accept your updated information by way of scan, so email. Sometimes people deliver their information in person, sometimes by secure fax. So we try to work with clients all over the state, actually. We really try to help you not have to run back and forth to Jackson, Mississippi, to the Test Taking Solution Foundation. We don't want you having to do that needlessly. But when the USDA goes through changes like the one we recently experienced with the loss of our intermediary, then we have to pause and wait for further direction. We now have an MOU, or a memorandum of understanding, with the USDA Rural Development Office directly. We thank God for that, and we are able to move. And I'm excited. I know you are too. How long does an application take? Well, I just kind of went through that. What governs this program? Yep, it's governed by Federal Register and mandates the Housing Act of 1949. And it's not going anywhere no time soon. There's an office handbook if you're interested in really learning the nuance of the program. The USDA says no problem. We're going to give you the information. The handbook 1-3550 is right there. It is a large handbook, okay? But it will tell you about every single aspect of this program. What a landlord has to do in case you're renting, how we assess your assets. What about if you have college students living at home or away from home? How do they equate it into the scenario? What about a spouse? All of that is outlined in the handbook. But again, we wouldn't necessarily want customers and clients to have to digest this book. We've done the heavy lifting for you. And so has the Rural Development Office that works hard to keep its packagers updated. Again, I thank God for Miss Stephanie Granderson and her team over at the USDA Rural Development Office. They are really, really, really dedicated to this program and to helping people acquire the housing that they seek. So, why does the USDA Rural Development do this? I think I've shared it all along the way. They do it the same reason the Test Taking Solution Foundation does it. They do it to provide people a path to home ownership. People who are considered low, very low income. Sometimes people who don't have a voice or who have been what some might say forgotten. They're living in rural areas where they don't have many services or access to high quality services. That's what this program is about. Families who truly have no other way to afford getting a home. So the USDA provides affordable home ownership opportunities to help promote prosperity, to help communities thrive, and to improve the quality of life in rural areas. Well, that's it. Now, if you have any questions for me, I'm opening it up now for question and answers. I will be providing those answers. You can call, you can email, you can text, do whatever makes you feel comfortable. But our call in number, let me see if I can stop sharing the screen and maybe. Yep, I did stop the screen share. There we go. And so, if you have any questions, feel free to ask those to call. But by now, many of you already are determining whether or not you qualify. You've seen everything. You've heard everything. Thank you, Ms. Woodard. Absolutely. Thank you so much, ma'am. And there's the applicant list of items to bring to your initial 502D session. Let's say you do want to move forward after learning all of what you learned here tonight, or maybe you are a current client of ours. If you are, you've already submitted a large part of this, but know that since we have now restarted the application packaging process, we're moving full steam ahead, you will have to submit last 2 federal income tax returns with all the schedules, your W-2s, your 1099s. Please don't bring your federal income tax return without the schedules. The program will not accept it. So that's why I say it takes some people 9 months to complete the process. It takes some people a year, because some people just absolutely will not do what what the regulations ask us to do. They say this is what you must submit. And guys, this is what you must submit. There are no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So I say that if you connect with Test Taking Solution Foundation, we will help you to get this information packaged and get it over to the USDA proper authorities. You must have a credit report. For those of you who've been with us, we'll have to update that credit report. It must contain a minimum of 2 credit scores. Yes. So if you bring a credit report and it doesn't have the credit scores, guess what? We cannot accept it. we pull one cursory when we first meet with you to just sort of look over it with you and to ask any questions that might, for example, contain some blemishes. Listen, I don't think I've met a person yet that doesn't have at least one blemish on the credit report. Either it's something that is an error or maybe it is true. The point I'm making is don't be ashamed because there might be a blemish on your credit report. It's okay. You're human. We're all human. And what we will do is help you to explain that blemish in a narrative that we will also submit with your application. Okay. You have to submit a money order in the amount of $30. And we try to wait to the end before we ask you to get that and write it out because again the process is just so long. And then we found that we have you write that out early on and then we don't even end up using it and things of that nature. So this money order, yes, it is a very important part of their process. We will ask you for it, but it will be later on. Many of you always bring it in though with that first visit, and we appreciate that. We just put it in your file. Last two federal income tax returns, as I said, the last 4 weeks of consecutive pay stubs. Consecutive. That means one after the next. So don't bring a pay stub from 3 months ago and then one from last month and then one from this week. That's not going to fly. It must be the last 4 weeks of consecutive pay stubs. The last two bank statements. We're talking about the last 2 months worth of bank statements. And keep in mind that every time they reach 60 days old, we're going to be reaching back out to you to say, hey, can you please share an updated bank statement? But you should keep up with this as well. And we will help you. When you engage with Test Taking Solution Foundation, we will tell you we're going to have to keep asking for this information throughout the process every time it turns 60 days old. So you may as well go ahead and get access to your bank statements where you will be able to print them off like many of us can. We can go to the websites of our banks and there is a place where you can print your bank statement. I understand some of you may not have printers at home. Again, all the more reason to engage with a qualified packaging certified employer like Test Taking Solution Foundation. We have a copier, we have a printer, fax, and scanner, and we can help you to package your application. A letter of explanation has to accompany your bank statements. If there have been any overdrafts for any deposits greater than $100, that's not Test Taking Solution Foundation's policy. That's the policy we follow that's been given to us by initially our intermediary, but our USDA. We have to send a letter of explanation when there are some interesting features or characteristics of your bank statements, some overdrafts. We got to explain them. There's a deposit over $100. Well, Dr. Liddell, what about my paycheck? It's going to be over $100. Right. And we will make a statement that, hey, where you see this amount being deposited every month, that's their paycheck. That's their monthly compensation. That's their biweekly compensation. We still have to send a letter of explanation. Is this making better sense now? Why, A, the process is long, and B, why perhaps so many people get denied or rejected? Because you don't have all this information attached to your application. Well, we help you to make sure that all of this is going along with your application. Evidence of Social Security benefits. Some of you only receive Social Security benefits, and that's all right. That's your income. If it's applicable to you, we must have evidence. We must get that SSA, that Social Security Administration. They send out a letter every year to you. It's up to you to check your mail, up to you to get your letter, put your letter up for times such as these when you have to show it. And if you don't have it or you've lost it or you don't know, we can download it again. We've helped many people to access their letter by helping them to create an account on myssa.gov. Social Security Administration. Evidence of any other income. Sometimes people have side hustles, and they may be a W-2 employee with someone, but then a 1099 independent contractor with someone else. We have to show evidence of any other income. Child support for the past 12 months. That's what they want to see. Not for the past 2 months or 3 months or 1 month, but for the past 12 months. If it's applicable to you, we must attach that information to your application. Verification of child and dependent care. That's something else that, if applicable to you, we must provide. A copy of a school transcript. You say you got someone who's a full-time student, they're not going to take your word for it. They're not, we're not saying you're lying or not being truthful, but it's just check and verify, right? You can trust, but you must verify. So they will want to see the school transcript of any person who will reside in that home who you are saying is a full-time student and they're 18 years of age or older. And finally, verification of retirement income. Some of you, the only income you have might be retirement income, or it might be retirement income and Social Security disability benefits, or it might be VA benefits. Whatever it is, we must attach evidence of that income. If that's retirement, then a pension fund letter will have to be attached, and those letters must reflect the start date and the duration of the awarded pension. That way, the RD, Rural Development, can determine or verify that income is stable, that income is dependable. It's not something you're just getting this year and you won't get next year, or that you're getting this month and you won't get next month. Well, that ends the presentation, the special episode of the Literacy Hour for this evening. Again, if you have any questions, please feel free to call us at 601-714-8378. You're also welcome to subscribe to our YouTube channel, and you can do that at any time. You can do that now, and you'll be notified whenever we are on air. We would invite you to follow us on Facebook at Test Taking Solution and on Instagram at TT Solution LLC. Thank you again for joining us, for tuning in to this episode of the Literacy Hour. We hope that you will join us again next week, Tuesday morning, first Tuesday. We'll be discussing all things education. Thank you and have a great rest of your evening.
For the past 1 hour, you have been listening to the Literacy Hour with Test Taking Solution and your host, Dr. Kentrell Liddell, MD, MBA. We are located at 2104 Thousand Oaks Drive in Jackson, Mississippi. Visit us on the web at www.testtakingsolution.com. Join us each Tuesday from 7 to 8 a.m. for another life-changing conversation here on our podcast live stream at affiliate stations.